Manchester City are champions, and I just want to say a big thank you to Arsenal for losing yesterday, for relinquishing the title on Saturday night, so that Manchester City didn't come to the Etihad on Sunday and absolutely obliterate Chelsea, needing the win to secure the title. Arsenal have spared Chelsea a lot of blushes, so I just want to say thank you to Arsenal. The fact that Manchester City fielded their B team, their second string team, they didn't have to get out of second gear, and they still made light work of Chelsea Football Club. No surprise there. If you'd have asked me, had offered me, would you take a 1-0 loss to Manchester City at home, I would have bit your hand off for that result. So no problem with that. At the end of the day, we've come away unscathed. Not much to learn about the game, but just pretty much taking everything and all the greatness that is Manchester City at the moment. We just have to give it to them. And I think this game and this title that they've just won, some people might say that Manchester City have pipped Chelsea and have overtaken Chelsea in that sort of history over the past 20 years, 20, 30 years, that sort of span, where Chelsea have been so successful and Manchester City have also been equally successful. But it seems now they have just gone to that extra level, and the fact that they might go ahead and win the treble, you would just say that maybe they have pipped us over these last 20, 30 years in being that team that is probably the closest to Man United in terms of success, in terms of silverware. You know, this 5th title in 6 years, 3 in a row for Manchester City, and just, you know, the level of football at the moment is ridiculous. We're all in awe of it. I mean, I must say, I just enjoy watching Man City now, which I can't say was probably something I would say of past Man City teams. There's just something so sophisticated about Man City now, the way they play, the way they control possession. It's just something a bit different happening, and Pep Guardiola he's done something different. And Chelsea, probably after watching them week in, week out, why do we put ourselves through this? I have no idea. The game today, it really was an exhibition match, and it's very difficult to take away, to find takeaways, to find key talking points from a Chelsea perspective, because it was such a tamed, flaccid, feeble game. Like, there wasn't really that tempo. Maybe in the first 20, 25 minutes there was, and we created chances as Man City scored early, but you know, we just never really had that tenacity or that conviction in front of goal that we are so familiar with over the course of this season. And the lineup itself was very weird. I mean, when I saw Havertz, Sterling and Gallagher in that 10, I think Lampard just decided to pick an 11 that he felt was going to run, do the hard yards, and would do their best to not get embarrassed by Man City. And I think that was the thinking behind that. It was great to see Lewis Hall come in. I mean, we've all been crying for Lewis Hall to get back into that starting 11 ever since he played some great games against Man City in the previous fixtures and in the cup competitions. I thought Lewis Hall was outstanding, and he was Chelsea's best player again today. I guess that is the main takeaway from this game, is how comfortable Lewis Hall is. He does make the odd rash pass here and there, and his composure, you know, could be better at times, but he was our dangerous threat on the left. You know, the pace, the strength that he has, I really like him as an understudy for Chilwell. I don't see a world where Cucurella is better than Lewis Hall at this moment in time. Like, it just doesn't. It's clear as day. But you spend 60 million on a left back, you've got to play him, and that just seems to be the story of Chelsea this season. Is the money that is spent means that you have to play these players, and they're not there on merit at all. But Lewis Hall today can once again hang his head higher, because he played well in a game of that magnitude, in a game of the occasion. I thought Lewis Hall was a very, very good, strong performer, which is hard to say for his counterpart on the right, Cesar Azpilicueta. We call him Dave, we love him, legend, but it's getting ugly. It's getting ugly, Azpi. It's really tough watching you at the moment. Your legs are gone, even as we see you trying to, you know, make ground and chase back. You're galloping. It's just not the same. The runs are not the same. The tracking back is not the same. You've lost, I'd say, more than half a yard, and it's really sad to see. And it's a bit weird that, I guess, that Frank keeps playing him, but I guess we don't have an out-and-out right back, and it is probably quite disrespectful to not play Azpi, considering there's nothing to play for, considering he's probably 100% not going to be at the club next season. You know, this is sort of a last hurrah for him, but it is definitely an area that Chelsea will need to fix. I mean, Reece James, Malo Gusto, of course, they're going to be our right backs, and I just feel like even for this game, maybe Chalobah might have been good there, even Loftus-Cheek. We do have people that can do that utility right back role if needed, if called upon. And yeah, AZPI got absolutely ran ragged by Cole Palmer today. This young guy was absolutely having a field day with him. And no surprise, absolutely no surprise. But it was a long day for Cesar Azpilicueta. Speaking of Loftus-Cheek, I thought Loftus-Cheek was brilliant today as well. I think he was when he plays like that, when he gallops in the middle of the park, to me, he's the best man to accompany Enzo Fernandez. I've said this on a few videos now. For me, RLC is the best man that we've had to accompany Enzo because he's that physical presence. He's that midfield drive that we need. Midfield is where we've really lost games this season, where we've looked so feeble and poor. There's no passages of play coming out from midfield, and at least with Loftus-Cheek, he's going to gallop forward. He's going to, bring possession into the final third, and he's going to make things happen at least. He's very hard to dispossess, and I like him and Enzo as a pairing. What it means for RLC next year, we don't know. I heard he's linked with AC Milan. There's a lot of players that are linked. There's a lot of players that are going to have to be shown the door, and I've said how I feel about Loftus-Cheek. It would be tough to see him go, but if there is a move to AC Milan there, it's hard to not want that for him, because I think he's done all he can, considering there's been so many chops and changes at Chelsea, and he's been there for a few of them. He's gone on loan, he's been promised. It just hasn't quite reached the heights, but I thought today was good, and it was just one of those, looking at him, that it might be one of his last games in a Chelsea shirt. I just wanted to give Loftus-Cheek his credit and his praise, because I thought he had a great game also. Raheem Sterling was bright against his old club. He must have been looking, gosh, if I could have just hung here another season, hung around the bench for another year, then I would have picked up another medal. He must have, given that guard of honour, must have felt a bit weird for him. First time back at Man City, I believe so. Not sure he's played against City at the Etihad. He might have done in one of the cup competitions actually. But even so, I thought he was bright. He does seem to hesitate. He had a bit of connection with him, Lewis Hall, throughout the game. I felt like them two were linking up a bit well. I felt like he could have put Lewis Hall in a few times a bit earlier. But that chemistry's not there. Raheem Sterling doesn't know Lewis Hall well enough, probably doesn't know his abilities, and maybe hesitated giving him the ball a bit earlier at times. But I thought Raheem was bright, and he's sort of making a case for himself recently. I really was disappointed in Raheem's performances this season, but the past few games, I don't know. He seems like he does want to fight, and he does want to be at Chelsea, and he is trying to lead by example, and you have to applaud that. One thing about Raheem, for me, anytime I feel like he has a bad game, or it's just it doesn't quite work. The final decision is always seems to be wrong. He does seem to shut me up constantly, whether it's in an England shirt, whether it was for Man City, and now at Chelsea. Sometimes he can just have games where he's hard to fault, and I feel like he played well today. He should have scored. He definitely missed a glorious opportunity, but I felt like Raheem made a case for himself next season, and if Pochettino is watching, the game today, he's going to be looking at the likes of, I guess, Lewis Hall, Conor Gallagher, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and Raheem Sterling as people that were fighting today. There were a lot of other passive players out there, a lot of pedestrian performances, but I thought they did well. They did really well. So hopefully Pochettino will identify some of these players for next season. Some are going to have to go regardless. But it was interesting to see strong performances from those players. And that was pretty much it. There wasn't too much to take away from this game. It was more just about watching and being in awe of Manchester City and all they've accomplished over the past few years, and all the sort of, medleys that Sky Sports had made about how great and dominant Manchester City have been over the 4 or 5 years. It just makes you reflect as a Chelsea fan about how, that was us. We used to be a bit more in the conversation. We used to have that success not that long ago, and how it's all gone so horribly wrong. How Manchester City are such a well-run football club, and Chelsea, ever since our takeover, are the worst run football club by a country mile. And the way that Manchester City have got it all together, off the pitch, on the pitch, in the media, manager, Chelsea are a far cry from that. Every player that went up to go pick up their medal today, whether they won, this was their first medal they were picking up, their second, their third, their fourth, their fifth. All of these players, you just looked at their attitude and their togetherness, their camaraderie, and gosh, it's horrible to see, because we're so far off that, and it's not something that happens overnight. So watching Man City today, And even Erling Haaland, you know, we were linked with Erling Haaland so heavily. He just clearly, it wasn't in the script for us to get Erling Haaland. But you just look at this Man City parade today, this Man City celebration, winning 3 in a row, you know, potentially going on to win a treble. And it's hats off to them. It's big congratulations to them. But oh, how Chelsea have fallen. And I think that we're going to be a long way off of seeing a glimpse of any success like that for quite a while. There's so many things we need to sort out. I just can't wait for this season to be over. City are crowned champions. Arsenal did us a huge solid yesterday by relinquishing the title. And that's it. Hopefully we start afresh and we can start to be a more formidable team next year. We haven't been battered by Man City, thank goodness. And that's it. We've still got 2 tough games to come. Don't expect any points from them, but hopefully we don't get drubbed. You know, Manchester United and Newcastle have got a lot to play for, so it's going to be a sticky one. Guys, let me know what you think of this performance you saw today. Were there any takeaways that I missed from there? Was there any narratives that you saw from the game today? Let me know. Appreciate there's been a lot of new subscribers, a lot of new comments and likes. Big appreciation for that. And yeah, feel free to leave a comment in the comment box. Let's discuss any points you think I missed today. Like this video if you can. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.